world moves fast. Your workday? Even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
Hello and welcome to War Horses, the only college equestrian podcast that had to run the numbers twice on an upcoming meet because the results were so unbelievable. I'm your host, Auburn Elvis. Let's talk about some college equestrian. Well, there were no meets to recap this week, so we're not going to do that. We're just coming back from the winter break, but there was some interesting news that I want to touch on before we get into the usual format of the show. First, congratulations to Julia Verkoven, who has been promoted to head coach at South Dakota State. Not really sure why the job became vacant over the holidays, but it did, and Julia has been an assistant coach for the Jackrabbits since graduating in 2023, so it's exciting to see her get this opportunity. Good luck to her and the entire Jackrabbits program. The second bit of news is much less celebratory. Last month, UC Davis announced that they would be discontinuing their NCEA equestrian program and transitioning it into a club sport. UC Davis began their NCEA team back in 2018. It has been a solid contender for the Eastern College Athletic Conference title in most years since then. Now, apparently the university had a review done of their athletic programs, and they decided that transitioning equestrian down to a club sport would be a better fit for the needs of their students. Shortly after, the NCAA released a statement with their usual message of, oh, we're disappointed, but everything's fine. And yeah, you know, reading between the lines of the UC Davis press release, it sure seems like if equestrian were a full championship level sport in the NCAA, then they would have probably kept equestrian as a varsity team. And I think the leadership of the NCEA really needs to take a hard look at the current state of things and put some more effort into recruiting new teams, particularly on the single discipline side. Now, I don't want to get on my soapbox just yet at this part, just to start the podcast off, so we're going to put a pin in this issue. We'll probably talk about it at the end of the show. But right now, let's do a quick rundown of the official Auburn Elvis College Equestrian rankings. All right, now these are not the NCEA's rankings. My rankings are better than theirs. I'll just say that the NCAA has gotten better recently. They've gotten closer to right. Basically, they had the coaches do the poll all through the fall, and the coaches kind of know what's going on. But now we've got the mysterious NCEA selection committee. They've taken the reins on this, so they'll be probably ranking things from here on out in the spring. Because again, they're the ones that are going to be issuing the actual invitations to the teams when we get to Ocala. Okay, here we go. First, I'm going to start with the dual discipline teams. Number 1 is Auburn. The Tigers had a great fall. They really impressed. They won all their home meets, and they went on the road and got some that were very impressive. So the Tigers look to be the class of the NCAA right now. Number 2 is Georgia. Georgia is right behind Auburn. They did some things that Auburn couldn't do. Auburn did some things Georgia couldn't do. Georgia's been perfect at home, and they look great on the road. So right now, it's Auburn and Georgia, and then everybody else. Number 3 is Oklahoma State. Now, I have the Cowgirls a little bit higher than the NCAA does. And really, Oklahoma State, they haven't ridden as much as you would have liked. But in everything they've done as well or a little bit better than expected. So that's why I have the Cowgirls up at number 3. Number 4 is South Carolina. The Gamecocks are having a good year. They've been perfect at home. They've won on the road some. They haven't looked quite as impressive as the teams ahead of them, at least not to me and not in the stats. But the Gamecocks are really good. They're a solid top 4 team. They could be the best team in the nation. We just haven't seen them have all of the opportunities that Auburn and Georgia have. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on them as well. So after those 4 teams, then we have the next group that these are teams that, have done well at home, but when you look at away, they haven't done superlative, and they're good teams. They're just not quite as good as the teams ahead of them. Number 5 is Texas A&M. The Aggies have lost a home meet. Otherwise, they've looked really good, so I have them at number 5. Number 6 is SMU. Now, SMU, again, this year, they did the same thing last year where they had a rough starting schedule in the fall with a bunch of meets on the road. Well, now that flips, and they're going to have a bunch of meets at home in the spring. So probably just like last year where they were pretty low ranked for the fall, they're going to shoot up the rankings in the spring. But for right now, they've done pretty well. They lost a home meet, but otherwise they look pretty good. They're number 6. Number 7 is TCU. The Horned Frogs lost a lot of talent from last year. They've dropped a home meet, but otherwise they've looked pretty good. So, yeah, they're number 7 right now. Number 8 is Fresno State. The Bulldogs returned a fair amount of talent. They've lost some home meets. They've done okay otherwise, but, right now I have them at number 8. So if the national championship tournament were today, those are the 8 teams that would get in. Now here are some teams that are still fighting, trying to get into that top 8. Number 9, Baylor. Baylor has done about what we expected. They lost a home meet. They've done okay. They haven't won on the road, but again, they had a lot of road meets in the fall, and in the spring they're going to get more home meets. So we'll see how the Bears do here in the spring. And number 10 is UC Davis. Hello, you. The Aggies have looked pretty good. They've lost a home meet. But they're not bad. They have a chance to move on up, maybe get one of those 8 spots to go to Ocala, but right now they've still got some work to do. So those are the top 10 teams in the dual discipline rankings. Now over we go to the single discipline teams. Number 1 is Lynchburg. Now here we have a difference here between mine and the NCEA rankings. Lynchburg, they're undefeated, and they've played a little bit better talent than certain other teams, so I have Lynchburg at number 1. Number 2 is Dartmouth. And this is where you see the big difference here. The NCAA has the green up at number 1 because they are the defending national champions and they are undefeated. However, in my book, they haven't ridden very much, or at least not against superlative talent like the Hornets have. So I have them at number 2 until they prove that they're better than Lynchburg. Number 3 is Sacred Heart. Now, this is a bit of a surprise. The Pioneers are having their best season ever. They are ranked in the top 3, and boy, they're looking good. Good job, Pioneers. Number 4 is Sweetbriar. This is a bit of a shocker because normally, Sweetbriar is a perennial number 1, number 2 team, and they didn't have a great fall. They went on the road, picked up some losses, and they're at number 4. Number 5 is Bridgewater. Bridgewater is also having a pretty good season. They look tough. They're doing what we would expect. They're winning some away or home meet. They're winning at home, and they're doing okay away. Number 6 is College of Charleston. Now this is a bit of a shocker again with the Cougars being so low. They picked up some losses. Some of that might be just having to go on the road a little bit against some tougher competition, but we'll see how they do in the spring. Number 7 is Barry. The Vikings are doing about as expected. They're going to have a chance to do even better here in the spring, but for right now, they're number 7. Number 8 is Sewanee. The Tigers aren't having a great year. They didn't have a great fall. They lost at home. They haven't looked great on the road, so they've kind of slid down to number 8 here. And number 9 is Centenary.
It's a twister! It's a twister!
The Cyclones, God bless them, they haven't won yet, but they're looking good, and if they would just host a Durham meet, maybe they might get a win. So we'll see how things go for them in the spring. So that was the rankings. That catches everybody back up as to how things went in the fall. Now we are going to look into the future with Some meet previews. Okay, this is the good stuff. This is probably why a lot of y'all listen to the podcast, is to know what's going to happen in the upcoming meets. And so that way, if the equestrian comes up around the water cooler at work, you can say, oh, well, I expect, SMU to win. So, yeah. Well, speaking of SMU, our first meet is on Wednesday. Now, this podcast comes out on Wednesday, so when you're listening to this meet might be going on right now. UC Davis at SMU. Kind of gave away the punchline on this, but I'll just tell you what the stats suggest. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for SMU. Flat is predicted to go 3-2 for SMU. Horsemanship is predicted to go 5-0 for SMU. And reining is predicted to go 4-1 for SMU. If all that does happen, that would make the final score SMU 16, UC Davis 4. So yeah, the numbers really like SMU, the home team in this. Like I said, they went on the road a lot in the fall. Now they're getting a lot of these meets at home. And yeah, they're going to come right out the gate and they're going to look impressive. Over we go to Thursday, South Carolina at Baylor. I ran the numbers on these, and Fences is predicted to go 3-2 for South Carolina. Flat is predicted to go 3-2 for South Carolina. Horsemanship is predicted to go 4-1 for South Carolina. And reining is predicted to go 3-2 for Baylor. If all that does happen, that would make the final score South Carolina 12 to Baylor's 8. Now, this would be a nice road win for South Carolina. Normally, when teams are kind of close in the rankings, the home team will get the victory. But there's a bit of a distance between where South Carolina is talent-wise and where Baylor is. But again, the Bears have a chance here to get the home victory. And if they do, that would...
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Really impact their rankings and give them a good solid footing for hopefully returning to Ocala. So this will be a big one for the Bears right out of the gate. If they can get this key non-conference meet against South Carolina, that would be a nice notch in their belt. We have another meet on Thursday, UC Davis at TCU. So here the Aggies are going to go over to the Horned Frogs a day after going to SMU. And here's what the computers think will happen. Fences is predicted to be a 2-2 tie. Flat is predicted to go 3-2 for UC Davis. Horsemanship is predicted to go 4-1 for TCU. And reining is predicted to go 4-1 for TCU. If all that happens, that would make the final score TCU 12, UC Davis 7. So again, UC Davis is a strong team, but going on the road, playing against TCU at home, the numbers like TCU to win this one, so we'll see how that goes. Next up is Friday. We have Georgia at UT Martin. Okay, the Bulldogs going on the road to the Skyhawks. If you remember what I said in the opening tagline, this one had something interesting. Here's what the stats suggest will happen in Georgia at UT Martin this weekend. Fences is predicted to go 3-2 for UT Martin. Flat is predicted to go 3-1 for Georgia. Horsemanship is predicted to go 2-1 for Georgia. And reining is predicted to go 3-1 for UT Martin. If all that happens, that would make the final score an 8-8 tie. And typically, we like to give the home team the edge when there's a tiebreaker. And so, the stats are suggesting that UT Martin will upset Georgia 8-8 with a tiebreaker victory. Now, this was such a shocking result. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. This can't be right. ChatGPT, go back, rerun these numbers again, and this time do it carefully. And the prediction came back the exact same. So I do not know what to tell you other than apparently when they ride against UT Martin, the Skyhawks match up really well against Georgia, at least at home, statistically. So we'll keep an eye on this one because, man, if the Skyhawks do win this one, that is going to be one heck of an upset. All right, we got another meet on Friday. This one is a single discipline meet, Bridgewater at Sweetbriar. Now, Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for Sweetbriar, and Flat is predicted to go 3-2 for Sweetbriar. If all that does happen, that would make their final score Sweetbriar 7, Bridgewater 3. So yeah, Sweetbriar is pretty tough at home. There are very few teams that have ever beaten them at home, and yeah. So the stats like the Vixens at home. Back over to the dual discipline teams, we have South Carolina at Texas A&M. So the Gamecocks are doing a 2-for-1 this weekend, going over to the Aggies. Here's what the stats say should happen. Fences is predicted to be a 2-2 tie. Flat is predicted to go 3-1 for South Carolina. Horsemanship is predicted to go 3-1 for Texas A&M. And reining is predicted to go 4-0 for Texas A&M. If all that happens, that would make the final score Texas A&M 10, South Carolina 6. So this wouldn't be an unexpected result if we ended up getting this, because I'll tell you, teams that are that close in the rankings, typically the home team has a pretty good advantage. So this wouldn't mean that necessarily Texas A&M is that much. It wouldn't mean they're better than South Carolina at all. It just means this is a home meet for Texas A&M. Again, I'm just saying, don't panic if you're a Gamecocks fan and you do lose this one, because again, it's tough to go on the road and beat these teams. All right, next, over to Saturday. Now we got one. Most of my listeners probably going to like this one. Auburn at UT Martin. So the Skyhawks will have just hosted Georgia. And then what is this? Next day, 2 days later, what is this? Next day, they're going to host Auburn. Here's what the computers suggest will happen. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for Auburn. Flat is predicted to go 4-1 for Auburn. Horsemanship is predicted to be a 5-0 sweep for Auburn. And reining is predicted to go 4-1 for UT Martin. If all that happens, that would make the final score Auburn 14, UT Martin 6. So, yeah, the computer apparently thinks a lot more highly of Auburn than it does of Georgia. And, because this one doesn't project to be nearly as close as that Georgia-UT Martin meet. So, maybe it's just that Auburn's, the statistics for Auburn just match up better specifically against UT Martin. But we'll see. But yeah, keep an eye on both of these UT Martin meets this weekend. There could be some interesting stuff going on over in Martin, Tennessee this weekend. We still got a couple more meets here. First off, we've got South Carolina at SMU. The Gamecocks are not only doing a 2-for-1, they're doing a 3-for-1. They're going over to SMU, so they're getting a lot of road meets out of the way in one weekend here. Fences is predicted to go 3-1 for SMU. Flat is predicted to be a 2-2 tie. Horsemanship is predicted to go 4-0 for SMU. And reining is predicted to go 3-1 for SMU. If all of that does happen, that would make the final score SMU 12 to South Carolina's 4. All right, so again, South Carolina fans, don't be too down on your team if if the results end up something like this. SMU is a very strong team, even though they're ranked lower, because being at home really helps the team out. And South Carolina could pick up a couple of losses. You're really hoping you win that Baylor one, because if you do that, then dropping the other two would be a lot less of a worry, because the other two teams are better than Baylor. I'll just say it there. They're better than Baylor. And so if you could beat Baylor and not beat the other teams, then that's kind of what we expect. But hey, if you bag more than one of those, win 2, maybe even 3 of those, then look out. South Carolina is show enough if that happens. All right, our last meet of the week, UC Davis at Fresno State. So the Aggies were on the road. They fly back to California, and then they have another road meet against Fresno State. So, boy, this is going to be a rough weekend for the Aggies. So here's what the stats say should happen. Fences is predicted to go 2-1 for Fresno State. Flat is predicted to be a 2-2 tie. Man, we got a lot of ties in this one. Horsemanship is predicted to be 3-0 for Fresno State. So yeah, again, we got another tie. And reining is predicted to go to 4-1 for Fresno State. If all that does happen, that would make the final score Fresno State 11 to UC Davis's 4. Yeah, Davis, man, they might go 0-for-3 on this road trip this weekend. But still, going on the road, it really helps out the home team. And, this might be a brutal weekend for the Aggies. And given the news that we talked about earlier, the hits keep on coming. Oh, well. speaking of which, that's all of our action. We'll see how everything goes. Now let's talk about some final thoughts, which are really a continuation of stuff we already talked about. So yeah, let's go back and look at what happened with UC Davis's announcement. To me, this kind of says that the NCEA is not doing a great job of growing the league and getting the message out of what the value of varsity equestrian is. At least the value to the schools. As I said, it kind of seemed like the powers that be at UC Davis felt that, hey, if we're looking at these programs, basically varsity equestrian is about the same, and so let's just drop down. It's a little bit cheaper, and there you go. And I think that's really the NCAA needs to do a better job of communicating. Hey, here is what the true value of the varsity team college equestrian experience is. Because if a school is just looking to provide a student experience where they can train and ride in some competitions on some horses, then you can get that same experience with club equestrian. But I don't think that exactly appreciates the unique value of what true team equestrian offers. And a lot of you riders know more about this than I do, so maybe some of the gains that are going to be made here in the future are not just going to come from the administration of the league, but it's going to come hand in hand with a lot of you riders and former riders getting your stories out there. Because for a lot of you, you know that throughout your whole career, you're going to be riding as an individual, and club equestrian is still based on that same individual riding. Now, they do have a team aspect to it, but a lot of it, at least in the format, is set up to be very individualistic. But with team equestrian, it is not like that. Your individual score almost doesn't matter once you've either earned a point or not for your team. And so it really relies on everybody in the team doing well or not, and that's how you win or lose in team equestrian. And so many of you, throughout your whole careers, you're going to be able to ride as individuals, and college is the only chance you're going to have in your whole career to ride as a team. And that whole part of the equestrian story is what really needs to get out there, because that is what makes team equestrian, the NCEA equestrian, so unique, and it cannot be replicated with club equestrian, because club equestrian just doesn't have that format. I'm going to put this out there for you, for the riders and the former riders out there. Y'all need to kind of maybe get together, maybe join with the league and say, hey, what can we do to get our stories out there to promote the experiences we've had? Because there got to be other people out there at these schools that maybe they only have club equestrian and they want to go into varsity team equestrian. Here's the benefits that they could recognize by doing that. And the more you get that story out there, the more you're going to get schools to join this league, and that's how you're going to grow this sport. And particularly, I would say, in the single discipline arena, that is a lot easier task for a lot of these schools, because by only doing a single discipline, it is a lot cheaper. It's a smaller step to go from club equestrian to a single discipline than to go to a full Western and jumping seat equestrian. So I hope whoever's listening, if you have a story out there that you think could help, get in touch with the NCAA and say, hey, I loved my NCAA experience. I want to help promote this sport in any way we can. What efforts can be made so that we can get more schools looking at adding NCEA programs? And yeah, that's what needs to happen in the next stage for this league. Otherwise, we might see more stories like what's going on at UC Davis, where teams are reevaluating whether or not they want to continue it. And I think it's because that message is not getting out there. So NCAA, y'all got to do a better job of this. And maybe, some of you riders and former riders need to help them out with that. Okay, so off my soapbox. We'll come back and do this all again next week. I am your host, Auburn Elvis. Thank you very much for listening, and War Horses.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.